Have you ever asked yourself the question whether I've been productive today? Probably, at some points in your life. However, during the pandemic, how frequently do you still ask yourself that question? Probably not as much. I did not constantly tell myself that I should be more productive during the pandemic. Well, today, I want to share with you a lesson I've learned in the past 2 years. I want to make a point about the taken for granted assumption that we hold about productivity. Oftentimes, in our capitalist society, we tend to equate our worth to our work. I want to show you that it doesn't have to be. In other words, the pandemic, a period of great uncertainties and turmoil, has taught me that I am more than my work. Well, in order to get to that point, let's start by thinking about the meaning of work. As an anthropology and economics double major, I've always been fascinated by the different ways people attach meanings to the idea of work. Many people work to earn a paycheck. For students, we work to get higher grades or to get a job. The point here is that we attach different meanings to the idea of work. And the idea of work vary historically as well. According to economist sociologist Throsing Velbit, in the 19th and 20th century, the richer one became, the more leisure time one had. So leisure was desirable because it was a status symbol. In other words, if you had to work, it meant you were not upper class. Well, fast forward to 21st century. For some reason, being busy is desirable. According to an article on The Atlantic, the reason that being busy is desired is because a busy person is seen as possessing desired human capital characteristics, such as ambition and competence. And this kind of person will always be in demand for the job market. So in our time, wanting to work and working makes someone a better person. Yet the value we attach to our work has created problems. Being stressed, having poor mental health are among the top issues, not only in the working environment, but also in higher educational institutions. What's worse, according to an article in New Yorker, stress has become the default metric for judging whether we are busy enough. Using this logic, it is good that we're stressed. Because that means we're working a lot. So in our time, wanting to work and working makes someone a better person. I mean, this sounds ridiculous, right? So the question really becomes, why is it that being busy is seen as intrinsically good? You know, during the pandemic, I wasn't as busy as before. I no longer need to take photos for the communication office, making coffee at Photopus, or doing panels for our admission office. I also missed being a tour guide. During the pandemic, all of the things I used to introduce myself during tours no longer existed. Not being busy made me feel as if I've lost purpose in life. Sometimes I stare at the blank Google Calendar. I wasn't sure how to go about with my life. Sometimes in the morning, I loved to call my grandma in China. Every time when she picked up the call, she had this big smile on her face. Yet every time during the phone call, I often feel the need to be doing something more productive, such as scrolling through LinkedIn, as if that was a better use of my time than connecting with someone who loves me the most in this world. So I ask myself, why do I feel that scrolling through LinkedIn is more valuable than connecting to my family? I realized I start seeing myself as the sum of my work instead of a human being. I have internalized the call of capitalism and willingly and happily became a screw within the capitalist machine. Yet it doesn't have to be this way. In fact, during the pandemic, the great resignation we're witnessing reflects how many others are starting to reflect their work in relationship to their life. In 2021 alone, more than 38 million workers quit their job. Many people quit saying that work has consumed so much of their life. This is something they realized during the pandemic. Therefore, the pandemic does give us a wake-up call to reassess our lives. Sometimes when I mention capitalism, many of my friends tend to be a little pessimistic. We assume that this is a system that we're stuck in, that we as individuals would have no power to make it better. Yet what we're seeing during the pandemic is that perhaps we can restart by thinking about the way we relate to our work. I mean, the whole reason that we thought we're stuck is because we willingly and subconsciously choose to believe so. We use our work to equate to our worth. But it doesn't have to be this way. I know that not working really isn't an option for a lot of us, but reflecting on our relationship to work is. Sometimes I think about what can we do to make it better? I would argue that just start by reflecting on our relationship to work. We are already changing the collective culture one step at a time. I would challenge you guys to ask questions about the meaning of work. Why is it that we attach so much value to the amount of work we do? Why do we attempt to dehumanize ourselves as workers? Aren't we humans too? So the discipline of anthropology has taught me that we do have to worry about the way we think about ourselves, because our thoughts matter. Just like earlier demonstrated, the definition of status symbol has changed from having leisure time to being busy. And I will argue now that by start thinking differently, we are already changing our collective culture one step at a time. So maybe next time, when I give a tour on campus, I would introduce myself differently. I would talk about the things that makes me happy, like a walk in the Glen or chocolate-flavored ice cream in McEwen. I would not put so much emphasis on the labels I use to make myself feel worthy as a tour guide, because that's now the only thing that defines me who I am. And this way of thinking goes to you too. Maybe next time, when you had a not so productive day, just accept it as it is. Not being productive is okay. Not working is okay, because there's so much to life than work. Thank you.